And welcome to another episode of the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards. This is the podcast where we celebrate the fierce, the fearless, and the women redefining metal and rock. Today's guest fronts a band that blends snarling guitars, addictive pop hooks, and a dark euphoric pulse that sticks in your veins. Imagine if Veruca Salt and the Smashing Pumpkins collided on stage. And you're getting close with the sound of this band, Queen Horizon, and the lead vocalist, Kerry Baker, joining me from the UK. Welcome to the Metal Queens podcast.
Thank you so much, Steve.
All right, let's start with the sound. Queen Horizon blends pop hooks with dark, gritty energy. What was the moment you realized this was the sound you wanted to create?
So I feel like, Steve, we've been exploring this sound for probably a couple of years now. And some of our earlier content that we were releasing, it definitely was touching base with the kind of sound that we wanted to deliver. And I feel like we've really turned a corner when we recorded New Euphoria, which was that was our third single that we've released prior to the one we have out now. And for us, that was the one where we really felt like we put a stamp on the Queen Horizon sound and the kind of things that we wanted to deliver in terms of mainstream alternative rock. And I feel like ever since, really, we've just tried to tweak that further and try and hone in on the kind of sophisticated sound that we want to create.
Kerry, how did you get started in music? Was music big in your house growing up there in the UK?
It really wasn't. And I was actually quite a shy singer and very, in terms of being creative, I found it very, very, I found myself being quite an introvert. And I think actually it's only as I've got older. So initially my prominence was in sort of performance in terms of dancing and musical theatre. And it wasn't really till life really got serious, I think, and it made me realize multiple things like losing my father, going through lots of sort of adversities that we all kind of face in life. And I think that for me was more the wake-up call creatively to go, actually, there's a lot here to sing about, a lot of pain, a lot of experience. And actually, it's such a therapy because it's the only way you can really express a certain thing. So I know if I haven't done it for a while, for example, it's almost like a heaviness in my chest. And I just think, oh, I need to get this out. I need to experience life in this channel, if that makes sense. It's a really hard thing to describe, but I think, yeah, ever since I sort of realized how important that was and seeing life evolve in front of me and going, actually, there's no second chances. This isn't a rehearsal. If you've got something to say or you've got a feeling that something could be really good, whatever you're doing, you need to start doing it. And I think for singing, it just became a bit of a crossroads for me. And quite a few of us in the band, actually, we've all met, I think, through pain in a way. Like we've all gone through something quite significant to land where we are, to go, oh, we all met in this moment. And actually that's great because we all had that same motivation and that kind of esteem to be like, right, it's now or never, life isn't going to wait for us. If we've got things to say and we feel like we work creatively together. And I think as a woman in rock, it's really important to feel safe. And actually, I'm really blessed with the boys that we do this with. Is when we get into a room, I've never been more vulnerable in my whole life, I don't think, than when I'm with them. Because when we write, it's really authentic. So you have to really dig deep. And I think if you're not surrounded by people that you can do that with positively, that's a barrier, isn't it? It's a hindrance. So actually, I think it's a blend of all of those things rather than, just kind of walking into it or doing it just because I enjoyed singing in itself. So it was so much more to it than that for us.
I want to come back to something you said there about being a woman in rock. What do you think is the biggest misconception about being a female frontwoman in rock right now?
Misconception, I would probably say, I think actually the misconception is it has to be a certain thing. So when I look at a lot of other musicians in the rock industry that are female leads, and you're kind of looking at them for both inspiration but also contrast. And I think that's something that the misconception is for me is actually, as a female rock singer, you don't have to be singing very particular songs. And you can sit within certain frameworks, sort of like your classic rock, your heavier rock. But actually, for the most part, it's anybody's game. And I think that's been something that I would never have really anticipated or realized. I think the way that we've fallen into this genre has been quite authentic. You know, it wasn't something we sought out to do. And actually, it was, I think when I see women in rock, they are strong characters. You know, they're all really dominant, strong characters on stage. And I think that's in itself not the misconception, because that is the truth. Equally, how you perform that, how you deliver that as a female, the misconception is there's one way to do that, and actually that's something I'm seeing. I think we all take inspiration from each other. I like how she did that, but it's not about trying to be like that either. It's going, okay, but what's my thing? What captivates people when I start doing something, and how is that in a good way different? So I think the misconception is that we are all the same and we tick all these very sort of stereotypical boxes. Whereas actually, I think when you really analyze female rock musicians, they're actually very unique in themselves.
Your latest single is called Broken Phoenix. The title alone just screams rebirth. What had to burn for that phoenix to rise?
So for me personally, it's a very, very powerful personal song. So I've been through a really awful time, and that was being extremely vulnerable as a woman as a whole. But equally, I had two vulnerable children that I had to obviously care for during this period of time that I was going through. And for me, it's a song about the rebirth and the war, but not so much for me, but it's more the power about me rebirthing our situation and our life for them. So a lot of it talks about the grief that I had about being absent from them at the time where they needed me. But I was doing it in order to provide the things that they would need for us to be able to, live with basic provisions, basically. So it was a genuine fight for their lives and mine at a time that, there were no sort of distinctive answers. So I sort of talk about like faith in that sense of like, that song is so powerful because it's about a vision to try and create something that I can't guarantee or see at this moment in time. But every day I had to find this inner strength to wake up, to provide that and get us closer to that situation and go, no, I'm going to kiss you. Whether it is good night because I had to work during the night hours or whatever it was, or just once again, having to be apart from them during a period where they really needed me, and actually going, I want to be with you more than anything. But if we're ever gonna get out of this situation, my absence is actually what's going to provide that through the work that I'm trying to do. That relates to everything I was doing during that period, and even the songwriting. So actually there was so much therapy in that song of like, actually, this is for everyone that's severely depriving themselves to create something better for them, and saying, oh, we will rebirth, we will rise. They will knock us down, but they're not going to win. And this unapologetic faith in that, even when when you have to look someone in the eye because they're the vulnerable one, and you're like, you're going to be okay, everything's going to be fine. But behind your eyes is fear, it's doubt, but you can't show that. And this song is that kind of stance for that, to be like, I'm going to stand here united with the strongest front to say everything's going to be okay, when they're leaning on you for that resource of encouragement, and confidence, but then you walk away and you cry, and the pain in that song is the pain I was feeling internally in that time that I couldn't show because I had to be so strong all the time, and actually going, what am I doing? I create these beautiful humans, I don't get to see them. And actually, when you listen to the lyrics, that's what it's sort of feeding into. It's going, right, I'm going to war again. I'm going out there once again to fight for the things that you need, in a situation where we've been failed. So yeah, it's a dig deep one. It really gets me every time I have to perform it.
Kerry, you were talking earlier about your bandmates and being in the studio with them. It sounds like there's an undeniable chemistry in Queen Horizon. What's the dynamic like behind the scenes? Who's the chaos? Who is the calm in the band?
Oh, that's such a good question. And that's something that I'm trying to make sure we can kind of make that more of a visual when you get to know us. So, the people behind the music, essentially, isn't it? So I think, well, definitely Bob. Bob is the chaos for sure. He has the funniest sense of humor. I don't think I've ever laughed quite as much until I met Bob. He's so quick-witted. He's so off the cuff. Oh, he's just brilliant. He's such a talented musician as well. So he's the one that gets the giggles. You know, he's the tongue in cheek and the one that we kind of have to rein in a little bit. Otherwise, if you let him off the leash, you don't quite know what's going to happen, and in the best way possible. And then I would say after that, Chris and Colin. So they've known each other since they're about 14. So I always refer to them as like a married couple. So they're really funny because I'll be like it's like mum and dad are arguing. Do you know what I mean? We never argue. It's a very like untoxic environment. But when I say argue, it's probably like a really funny tongue-in-cheek bicker about part of the song or the kind of chords or the way they're going to be open or closed or whatever it is they're kind of be doing. And you just see this little like cheeky banter between the two of them, and you're like, Mom, Dad, can you just stop now? You know. And then they're really creative in their own dynamic. And then Mark as the bassist, he's amazing. He's so chilled, proper family man, like just really, really unique in his own self. Um, and yeah, he's always kind of like the calm and collected. Like if you need a bit of calm and clarity, he's the guy that you're going to sit with. And then I would say I'm like a bit of a cherry pick of all of those people. So I would say like I can be really chaotic and they have to like sort of tame me in many respects. And then in other ways, I am the calm and I'm like, right, okay, this is what we need to do. So I think we really collaborate well together in terms of chemistry. And we are like a family. And actually, Bob being a unique asset to the team and very new to the team, that was so beautiful for me as the woman to see that unfold, because it was like the brother that they've always wanted, but they didn't have yet. And I was like, guys, just watching this kind of blossom is really beautiful. And actually, you know, because they're so thick in that situation where they're trying to get that relationship together, that is happening very like organically. And I'll just sort of sit back and watch things unfold. And I always say to them, like when we first started out, I'd always sit in the room and think like, I'll just watch them kind of jam and get creative. And before I've even like begun to think about lyrics and things. And I'd just look at them and be like, I'm so lucky. That I'm so lucky that this is my, you know, Saturday evening or whatever, that I've almost like, you know, I sort of think, how have I done this? But like earned my place in this room with these amazing musicians. And I think that's really good about us, because we're always trying to get better, because we all really respect each other's talent. So like I'm like, oh, it keeps me driven. I'm like, God, like they're doing really well. I want to keep up with them. Or when we get in the studio and I'm like, oh well, I want to, you know, be up there with the best of them, and I want to make sure that I'm really ready. And I feel like then they feel like that. So it's this really like positive, not even competition, but kind of strive within each other to keep raising the bar. And I think that's just really, really healthy and really cool.
Yeah. And when you step on stage at places like Camden Assembly or O2 Islington with these guys, what does it feel like when the crowd sings your lyrics back to you?
It's amazing. And I think especially as an original, authentic grassroots artist, you know, this is all so new. They're not songs that everybody knew. So actually it's the investment that they have really like takes you back, you know, when they sing along with you or they cheer with you, or you can see they've obviously been listening to your song. There's a particular song and that they've been obviously waiting for that in the set. And I just think you can't a describe that feeling or buy it. You know, you're just like, what just happened? You know, and just that mutual appreciation, and where some, you know, it's a really unique feeling, isn't it, when you've got something that's so authentic and unique to you and other people like it. Like it's like, how do you replicate that, you know, or how do you even know if they're going to like it, you know? And I think that's a big thing as an artist, isn't it? You have to say, right, who am I writing for? Am I writing for the algorithm? Am I writing for what's popular and necessary, or am I writing truth? And you don't know if everybody's going to like truth, because you can't predict the reaction to that. So when you do get a reaction and they go, I love that song, or we had someone recently about one of our tracks, Power, and they said that is my favorite one, which is quite surprising. You know, it's one of our very earlier songs compared. Um, but actually, their interpretation of that song as well, and they go, it really reminds me of this, and actually got me through X, Y, Z. And you're like, wow, like the versatility of songs is amazing, because actually, I may have written it with a different thing in mind. but they've had it and it's helped them heal through something entirely different to what I originally was writing it about. And that's magic, isn't it? 'Cause you're like, wow, not only did that help you, but it helped you in a way that's unique to you. How cool is that?
That is very cool. Queen Horizon's got an EP out, singles, videos. Make sure you check them out online. BBC support too. You got a lot of momentum going now. Kerry, what's the plan for new music for the rest of the year and touring too?
Yes. So I would say new music wise, we're writing at the moment. We've got a few things in mind. There's one that we've been doing live for a long time that is becoming a very big favorite. It's usually our closing set song. And we think we've teased everyone enough, I think, in the sense of we really need to get that recorded and down because there's something about that song that will never replicate recorded as it is live. There's something really special about it. And it's about preserving that in the same breath, but equally making sure when people come to our gigs and see that live and they're so excited about the end set, sorry, that they can go home and that's the one they look for. They go, oh, but that one wasn't there. So I think that one kind of has to be done at some point this year. Equally, it's just the new songs against the sound that we're finding on ourselves that we're developing. And then in terms of touring, so we're doing our first quite big festivals this year, which we're really excited about in the UK. And we're looking at doing a European tour at some point this year as well. And obviously, if we can get back to the US, that would be incredible. There's a few ideas that we've got in mind to get that sorted. But I think that's quite nice sometimes where the plans are quite loose, but the ambitions are high. And actually, there's things, what makes this so cool is like, you can go in 24 hours, everything can change. You get that one email that's asked you about this one festival and you're like, oh my goodness, everything's changed again. Or, something's really progressed. And I think just getting as far as we can, essentially. So obviously looking on our socials when we're adding stuff so that we can give you those updates as soon as we have them in terms of where we're going to be, to reach out as many of you as we can and just get to know people through music, because that's been the best part of it. No one is the same. When you go to a different venue, you meet different people from different walks of life that are all there for a mutual reason, which is good music. So yeah, the further we can get and the more people we can reach by doing that, the better.
And hopefully we'll get you back here in the U.S. very soon, too, Kerry Baker.
So.
And Queen Horizon, check out their latest single, Broken Phoenix. Go stream their other singles like Last Goodbye, Hollow, New Euphoria, The Secret, and more to come from this band from the UK, Queen Horizon. Kerry Baker, lead vocalist, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Steve.
And thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe to the Metal Queens podcast on Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Steve Richards. Thanks for watching and for listening. I'll talk to you again next time.